Hello everyone, my name is Sagar and I hope you are doing well. Now in this video, we are going to see how we can create movement journal using X++ code. First of all, let's understand what is movement journal. So if you go to inventory management and then you go to your journal entries, expand this item node, you have this movement journal. So in movement journal, either you can increase or decrease your inventory at a specific site warehouse location, and additionally you will also need to provide an offset account where the actual financial transaction will be recorded. So I'm waiting for this to get loaded in my front end. So my form is opened. So when I click on new here, okay, so if you see, this is how the movement channel is created, and I will also create a line as well. So for that, what I will do, let me start writing code, then we'll learn the concept along the way. I will add a renewable class, and I can say it's something like create movement, and movement journal. Here we go. I will click on add. Now the first thing is that for our movement journal, there are two tables where we will need to enter the data. That is the InventJournalTable and InventJournalTrans. I will show you in a second. So let me remove this. So the first thing is that for header and line, we'll need two tables. That is InventJournalTable, InventJournalTable, and this is for our header. And for line, we'll need InventJournalTrans. So I can say InventJournalTrans. Alright. So as I'm going to use my TTS begin and TTS commit, because I will insert some data. So I can say TTS commit here, and I will start writing the code. Okay, now what I will do, I will use this header table, that is InventJournalTable dot. So there's a method called init from. Okay, let me again write it. Dot init from InventJournal name. Okay, and here we'll need to provide the InventJournal name. So which journal we are going to use. So in our case, for that, we will use our invent. So there's a table called invent parameters where you save your parameters, right? So I will use this find method, and there's a field called movement journal name ID. So I'm simply going to use this field. Now I will close this, and additionally I'm going to use one more table here, that is invent journal name, that will populate my actual invent journal name. I will again say find here, and I will close this, and I will close it from here. Let me go. Okay, here we go. Now this is ready. Okay, then we need to specify the type of journal, because we have a lot of journal types. So that's why I will say InventJournalTable dot invent type. I think the field should be journal type. Here we go. Then I will use the CDT invent journal type, and here if you see, we have a lot of journal types, so we are going to use movement journal for our scenario. And then I need to assign a journal ID as well, right? So if you see this, I need to, when I click on new, I need to assign this journal ID. For that, I will say InventJournalTable dot. Then I will need to use this field journal ID, and then I will use my number sequence class here. There's a function called new get num. Then using, if you here you see we need the number sequence reference, so that I can get from my parameter table. You can say invent parameters. I will use my find method here. On find method for number sequence we have this num ref invent journal ID, this one. So I will close this, and then there will be a function called num. I'm going to use this. So as soon as I will assign a unique journal ID here, I can now use my insert operation at my header table. So I can say InventJournalTable dot insert. So this insertion is complete. Okay, and here if you see, my header table is ready, like with all the information. Like the basic information is the number sequence and the type of our journal, so that we have completed. Now as this is completed, now we'll go towards our line section. So for our scenario, we'll simply create a line. Okay, so then I can say that InventJournalTrans, not this one, trans table. So there is a method which will initialize all the fields from header to line level, whatever are needed. So we can use this field init from InventJournalTable, this one. Here I will need to pass buffer of my this InventJournalTable. So I can say InventJournalTable URNL. Okay, I mistyped it. InventJournalTable. So I'm waiting for it to get loaded, or let me copy it directly from here. Okay, so now it will initialize all the header fields at line level, whatever is needed. So for example, we can see this code as well. Go to definition here. Yeah, so here it will create the relation and everything, like the header and line relation with journal ID. So yeah, it will do that job for us. Then the next thing is, okay, I'm sorry, here why I use this, it will be single equals to for assignment. Now our header table is ready. Now the second thing that we need is, we need a item ID. For example, let me pick this item ID 1000. So I will go here. Now I can use my invent table. Actually, I need to use this. Let me tell you one thing here. Line, this will be my item ID. invent journal trans. So there's a method called init from invent table, but I can't use this directly, because if you see here, I need the buffer of my invent table. That's why now I'll need to define my invent table now. So I can see here invent table. Again, let me define invent table. and then here I will initialize this. I can say InventTable dot InventTable equals to InventTable. I can use this find method, and I will pass the item ID here, that is something 1000. I will copy this, close this. Here now I will get buffer. Now I can pass this buffer here. InventTable. Now everything will get initialized from here. Okay, now this will do all the initialization, but I will need to define a few fields as well. For example, if you see here, currently I need to define the site and warehouse, right? Then this quantity, cost price, right? The cost amount. So I need to define all this. So if I set it here, let me try to set this one. Okay, I will assign this value as well. Open this one. So if you see this cost price, so if you will put here 10, so 10 should increase here, 20,000 is here. So what I will do, I will simply assign like the quantity from here, and for example I can assign this cost price as well, okay, and the cost amount as well. So for cost price, let me do one thing. Let me assign one more line here as a new. Let me add that product only, that 1001. I'll click this here. Okay, so the cost price is not coming automatically. So let me open this particular product. Okay, so let's write the complete code. Let me assign the quantity first. So I can say InventJournalTrans dot Control Z here again, Control Z. Let me copy this again. I'll paste it here. So dot QTY equals to, let me assign the quantity F as 5, and similarly I will also assign the transaction date as well. Let me say it as today, and then we can define cost price and cost amount as well. So what I can do, I can say InventJournalTrans dot cost price, and the cost price is something that I can get from InventTable module dot scope resolution sign find. Then I can provide my item ID here, that is 1000, and then the type of module it is, like module invent purchase sale. This will be used, this is a movement journal, right? So the inventory transfer is in process, so I can use this. Then I can say please get me the price, so I can say price here. That's it. And then I can say InventJournalTrans dot, there's a field called cost amount, which is nothing but which will be multiplication of my quantity and cost price. So you can say cost price into quantity. So from here my line will be ready, but still my inventory dimension is still left, That is, I need to specify my site and warehouse. So for that, now I will define my InventDem. So I can say InventDem, and here I can say InventDem, and then here I will define my site and warehouse. I can say InventDem dot invent site ID. I know 1 is a valid site, so I will say 1. Similarly, I will define the warehouse as well. So I will say InventDem dot invent location ID, that is 11. I will define. So I go here. Okay, 1 is 11 should be also a valid one. Let me quickly check. Yeah, we have the 11, so we'll use 1 and 11. Okay, and then we'll use again, we will insert, we'll say InventDem ID. Okay, but now our inventory dimension is still not with us, so what we'll do, we'll say we'll use this table and we'll say find or create, and we'll simply pass the buffer of this InventDem ID. So if in case this will be available, if not, that it will create at runtime, and once we'll get this, then we can easily get InventDem ID. That will eventually assign to our JournalTrans table InventDem field. And here, like now, things are completed. Now we have created line as well, but still we need to have an offset account as well. So what I will do, for now I will use this offset account only. Let me copy this and let me hover over here. So this is the bank account USD. Okay, so I will use this account only. Now here we'll assign offset account, and now what I will do, I will save this offset account. Then there's a field called ledger dimension dot ledger dimension. Okay, and then I will use a class, you can say ledger default account helper, and I will use this function get default main account ID, and here I will assign this particular main account so that it will return me the ledger dimension, and I can store this inside this particular field. Now everything is done, so I can say that now please not this one. Let me show you this function first. So if you go to definition of this, so it will return you the ledger dimension default account. Okay, so that account you can insert inside this particular field. And now at the end I will simply do my insert. I can say InventJournalTrans dot insert, and at the end when the new movement will be created, then I want to see the ID of it, so I can use my info strfmt here. Invent journal created, and here would be the ID. So you can say InventJournalTable dot my journal ID, and I will save this. Okay, let me do a build, then we'll see. So guys, my dynamic class is completed, and if you can see, this new movement journal ID is created. And now when I will go to my movement journal page, so you can see this is populated here now, and we have the name and description also. One line also got created, and the item that we selected 1000, it is there. The site and warehouse, the quantity, offset account, I think the cost price was not estimated, so that's why this cost price and cost amount didn't come, and also the date. So let's quickly revise this piece of code. To hide this. So here we were creating the movement journal using X++ code. So for that we know that we require two tables, that is this header table, InventJournalTable, and the line table, InventJournalTrans X. First thing that we did is we need to get the name of our journal ID. Okay, so which is nothing, this one. If you go to header here, this one. Okay, so this is something we got using this invent parameter dot movement journal field here, and then we did the find of invent journal name. Then it got initialized. Then we define the type of our journal, because we have many journal like counting journal, movement journal, inventory adjustment journal, so a lot of journals are there. Then we assigned a number. Then we simply did insertion in our header table. Then from our header table we assigned the values into our line table, and then we simply use the buffer of this inventim, the item for which we need to create line. Then we use this method init from InventTable that will initialize all the item related thing. Then we specify the quantity and the transaction date, and then we finally assign the cost price and cost amount. Cost price is something that was not available for this item in setup, so that's why it didn't get populated in front end. And everything when this is ready, but we haven't tell the site and location, site and warehouse, then we assign this, and using InventDim we were able to find out the buffer and we assign that. And as you know that in movement journal we need to have the offset account, right? So for that we use this particular class, ledger default account helper. There's a function called get default account from main account. Okay, that will return the ledger dimension, and we will simply assign this into our line table, that is InventJournalTrans. Then we did insertion, and at the end we simply use this info statement. Thanks for watching this video.